Hey, what's going on, everybody? I'm Ken from Mid-Level Media, and today I just kind of wanted to do an off-the-cuff kind of conversation. I don't feel like I feel like I used to do these kind of things all the time, and to be honest, like most of my videos are off the cuff. You can probably tell that when you watch them, but I just wanted to kind of sit down and start with a question, and then try to figure out how to get to the point of actually answering that question on video. And maybe we don't find an answer, but I think the main point for these type of videos is to get your feedback in the comment section, which I get that all the time. You guys definitely let me know your feedback in the comment section. So in this video, guys, we're going to be talking about the boutique labels. Are we expecting too much from some of these boutique labels? And I'm not talking about studios. I think that we expect what we should expect from some of those studio releases. I'm talking about specifically the boutique labels, the Arrow Videos, the Scream Factories, the Second Sights, the Criterions. Are we expecting too much when it comes to some of these independent boutique labels that are really kind of doing the Lord's work when it comes to bringing out some of our favorite movies? Like the movies that they're allowed to license, like are movies that the studios don't have any interest in. They're the movies that the studios don't want to touch. They don't want to put out on 4K. So these companies kind of sprung up to take over that responsibility to put out these movies that the studios are not willing to do, and put out nice editions of those movies with good special features and nice packaging in some cases. So I want to talk about boutique labels. Are we being too tough on them? Well, some of them. I feel like there are some labels that are kind of untouchable and nobody really says a lot bad about them. And then there's other labels that I kind of feel like are unfairly criticized at times. And then there's some labels that I feel like are kind of fairly criticized. But just as a whole, like when they put out the announcements, and I'm asking this question because not because I get this from people, because I'm saying that you guys are too critical of boutique labels, or you're not critical enough. It's because like I'm asking the question like in my own head, like am I asking too much of boutique labels? Because I do these reaction videos where I'm reacting to it. And at the end of the day, like I consider my channel to be like a physical media commentary type channel. And I am going to be giving you my thoughts, my honest thoughts and opinions on what gets announced, like as I see it, like in real time in a lot of cases. So sometimes it's like I'll say something like in the moment, and then maybe a day or two later or a week later, and I'm kind of think about it, and maybe more details come out about that release that I didn't understand before or I didn't get before. And I'll be like, you know what? That actually is a pretty good release. Maybe I will grab that, or maybe I was too hard on that. I'm not necessarily interested in that, but there are people that are going to be interested in that. So maybe I was too hard on that when I talked about it. But again, it's most of the stuff I do on this channel, guys, is very off the cuff. And when I'm reacting to like the Screen Factory, Shout Factory announcements, or the Arrow Video announcements, or Second Sight announcements, or whatever Criterion announcements, it's all off the cuff. It's all as I read it off, and it's all whatever pops in my head first. So, and I take what I've learned from these labels, just as long as I've been talking about them and collecting for them, and I try to apply that to give actual like critical thoughts. Like I'm not somebody who's just kind of waking up and knows nothing about these labels, and I'm just going to go ahead and spit stuff like it's fact or something. Like I feel like I have a good knowledge and a good handle on, at this point in time, like what these labels are, what I expect of these labels. And, you know, if it feels like they're not giving me like their all, or they're not giving me exactly what I want, or they're being contradictory of their own releases from the past, like they gave us this for this, why are we not getting this for that? Like some of the stuff is kind of baffling. So I will comment on that kind of stuff, but I feel like I do have a good handle on a lot of these labels, you know. And there are some labels that I don't, and the ones that I don't really talk about very often. Like I don't talk about Severin Films too often because I'm just really starting to get into them. But Vinegar Syndrome, I've been collecting pretty heavily for the past 2.5 years. I feel like I can talk about them pretty adequately at this point. And Scream Factory, I've been collecting since like 2016, 2017, as I have Arrow Video as well. So I feel the most comfortable talking about those two labels. But anyway, let's get back to the question, because this is just going to be all over the place, guys. Are we being too critical of the boutique labels? Are our expectations too high for what's coming out? That's the question here, because I got the comments, like I'll get this wide array of comments. I'm very fortunate. I, for some reason, have a lot of people watch this channel, and I've got almost 29,000 subscribers. Or at least I'm on the road to 29, then 30,000, which is just incredible. And people have such a wide array of opinions. So I'm very fortunate that I get that kind of like that sampling, that like collector sampling. Like I put my video out there and then people will comment and stuff if it's something that people want to comment on. And it's always like a wide array of opinions. So I'm very fortunate that I'm in the spot where all these opinions kind of come to me and I get to see what everybody's thinking. And I think that's really cool because we're all different and we all collect differently. And, you know, we all have our own thoughts and opinions and things that we like and things that we don't like, and the movies that we like and movies that we don't like. And it's cool to see everybody's like differing opinions and stuff, because there are people that are way, you know, far removed from like what I think about things, but that's great. That's a beautiful thing. And then there's people that are more aligned, you know, with me on stuff. And then there's people that are just like way far beyond down left field. And I'm like, how did you get to that conclusion? But it's awesome to have all these opinions. So, you know, when these announcements come out and I get people like, oh, it's a shit month. You know, this is a shit month. There's nothing good. Those people I have a hard time taking seriously, because it's like pretty much in every month of announcements for like every label, you can find something that's pretty cool that was announced. It's very rare that there's a month of announcements and there's nothing that I'm at least like a little bit interested in getting. There's always like one, maybe two releases that I could potentially get at some point. So I'm like, well, you're just kind of a hater. So it's hard for me to take those people seriously. Now, when people say it's a lackluster month, I use that term all the time. I completely understand that. Like, there are months that boutique labels announce stuff. I'm like, you know, that's just kind of not just a subpar month. You know, they gave us a great month, you know, a couple of months ago. Last month was pretty good. This month is kind of lackluster. You know, but some people will take me to task sometimes in the comment section. And I was disappointed about the Faculty not getting a load of new special features. Like, I thought for that movie, for that release, like it should have got at least 4 or 5 new special features. Why didn't they get an interview with Robert Rodriguez? He just did interviews for his Mexico trilogy. Does he not care about the Faculty? Does he not hold that film that high in his filmography? Because to me, like, that's one of his best. Like, that and From Dusk Till Dawn are 2 of his best movies. I feel like if there was a special collector's edition of From Dusk Till Dawn, he would 100% do an interview for that. But honestly, I feel like he would for the Faculty. So that just leads me to the conclusion that Screen Factory didn't try to get the interview, or they didn't want to pay to get the interview. And I understand not getting Josh Hartnett on there. I understand not getting Jordana Brewster. Although, yeah, I feel like Jordana Brewster, like, what is she doing nowadays? She could come back and talk about the movie. But Elijah Wood, like, he's big in the film community and movies. I think they could have got Elijah to come back and talk about the movie, but who knows? You know, and again, it all goes down to how much is that going to cost? You know, getting some of those big, like, A-list actors to come back and talk about this movie. But, you know, you're not going to get Usher to come back and talk about the Faculty for sure. But maybe the blonde girl, I don't even really know her name in real life, could have come back and talked about the movie or something. Somebody, you know, Salma Hayek is probably not going to come back and talk about it. They could have got somebody, you know, Lilith from Frasier could have come back and talk about the film. I don't know her real life name either, but I don't know. It just feels like they could have got more for that release. And I got pushback, and it's like, look, I've heard that there's people in the comments sometimes, they know more than I do, or they're following pages that I don't even know. Like, I guess like in the deep subreddit forums and stuff, people know stuff. They're like, well, Screen Factory insiders said they did everything they could to get the 2 special features that they got, and there was nothing else that they could do for this release. And I'm like, well, you know what? Fair enough. And maybe they just don't consider the Faculty to be the classic that I consider the Faculty to be. And maybe there are other people back out there that don't consider the Faculty to be the classic that I consider the Faculty to be. So fair enough. You know, if they couldn't get it, or if they didn't feel like they needed to get it, because look, the Faculty only got like just a regular slipcover version, no alternate artwork or anything like that. And, you know, it's the original poster, and I like that. But, you know, here's the thing, guys. At the end of the day, it's something that I have to constantly like question myself. Do I need the greatest release of all time for every single movie that comes out that I love from these boutique labels, or that I like from these boutique labels, or movies that, you know, maybe I've never seen that I'm interested in? Do we need the greatest release of all time for every single movie that comes out from these boutique labels? And the answer is no. No, we do not. But for the ones that we do, sometimes the perfect storm does happen, and it's like it's a movie you love, and it gets that perfect treatment from Arrow Video, big chunky box set or Second Sight, tons of great features. Like people that their favorite movie of all time is The Hitcher, like they're over the moon right now. They are absolutely over the moon right now with that release. Or The Warriors last year from Arrow Video, like. There are times where the stars align and everything just comes together. I'm so excited for Demolition Man. That's one of my favorite movies of all time. Getting a 4K box set release from Arrow Video this December. So look, we don't need that all the time, because if every release was like that, it wouldn't be special when we got those like super special releases that just become some of our favorite pieces of physical media in our collection. So that's important to remember as well. And, just because The Faculty means like a lot to me, as a movie I watched when I was 13, I was coming of age when I watched that film, and it was just a very important movie. It felt like it was a bigger movie than I think a lot of other people, feel like it is. So I get that. Again, fair enough. But are we just in general? I think the answer to the overall question, guys, are we expecting too much from the boutique labels? Is really like yes and no. Because you also have to think we are paying quite a bit for some of these releases. Like, Severin Films, like one of the reasons why I don't get too far into Severin Films is because you're paying like $60, $65 to get a 4K release. And I just, look, the quality's okay. I got one over here. Let me just go ahead and pull this out, guys. So the Della Morte Della More Cemetery Man set, it's a nice set, but the quality of this box set is not on the same level as Vinegar Syndrome. It's not on the same level as Arrow Video or Second Sight. It's okay. It's nice, but this was like, I think $60. It's a 4-disc set. It's got some great special features on it, but I just, you're paying top dollar for some of these releases. Second Sight, when they put out a release, it's $50, it's $55, it's $60, I think, in the case of The Hitcher. Arrow Video, their box sets are up to like $40, $45 right now. Now, sometimes you'll get pretty good deal on the Arrow Video releases. If you tap into that Barnes & Noble sale that happens, 50% off and things like that. Same with Scream Factory and Shout Factory, and also Criterion with their 50% off sales from Barnes & Noble and their flash sales. So if you wait for sales, like you can get good deals on some of these really incredible releases. And it is nice that these boutique labels do have these types of sales to make it easier on us collectors to not feel like we have to get everything when it first comes out. It's like, oh, well, we can wait for the sale for that one because that one will come down in price. Let me just get the one that I think is going to sell out with a nice slipcover, for now, and then I'll wait for the other ones for later. So it is nice that they do that. And they don't just do like one sale a year. Like a lot of these boutique labels will do sales like 3 or 4 times a year, like maybe 5 or 6 times a year. It feels like Vinegar Syndrome's got a sale like every month or something going on. So it is nice that, yes, they price them high, but they do give us ways to obtain some of their releases for cheaper later on down the line. So I appreciate that. But yes, they are charging right out the gate, guys, top dollar for this stuff. So in some cases, we do want some top release. We want a top release for this top dollar. Like we want a really nice transfer, of course, 4K transfer. We want a really great amount of special features. We want really nice packaging for these. Some people don't care about packaging. Like Kino Lorber, like they're not a packaging label at all. And I've really kind of learned to not assign like expectations, the same expectations to every label. I kind of know what Kino Lorber is. I know what I'm getting myself into. When they announced Crybaby to come out on 4K from Kino Lorber, I know I'm not going to get a box set release, and I'm okay with it. But the other things that they can do, because they're not a package label, special features, transfer, if they can hit those and knock those out of the park, I'll be happy. I'll be happy with a 4K release from Kino Lorber, because again, it's going to be priced accordingly as well. $26, $27 for that. Now, if Arrow Video announces a movie to come out on 4K, and I think it's a great movie and it deserves that big box set treatment, and they put it in a small slipcover, that can disappoint me. But that's kind of, the rules within the label, right? Like I'm kind of assigning my expectations of the rules within that label, if that makes any sense, guys. I know I'm going all over the place with this, but yeah, I kind of try to just temper my expectations with each label. And, what can I expect from Vinegar Syndrome? What can I expect from Arrow Video? Are they giving it to me to the best of their ability? And that's where my disappointment or excitement can come in some cases. But again, we're paying a lot of money for this stuff, and we do expect a nice release for some of these releases, good special features, just the whole package, especially if they're charging $60. And that's one thing I can say about Second Sight. Yes, you will pay, but they put a lot of effort into their releases. Like that Hitcher set, you got 3 to 4 hours of special features. You've got the movie's incredible in 4K. The transfer is fantastic. The box set, you got the 2 booklets on the inside, which if you were paying for those booklets like separately in a Barnes & Noble, they would be like $15 a piece, in Barnes & Noble to buy these books, these paperback books, or in some cases hardcover when it comes to Second Sight. So, like, to me, the Second Sights, even though they are expensive, they're one of the most worth it releases if you enjoy that kind of stuff, that high level of packaging, and just everything that comes with those physical media releases. I think it's worth it. It's not like, and I'm going to throw Scream Factory under the bus a little bit here. And I love Scream Factory. They've done so many great releases that I love. But it's not like Scream Factory where they're going to charge you like $150 to get a 4K with an alternate slipcover and some enamel pins. Like that to me is not worth it. That's not the same thing. But with Second Sight, they price their stuff at a good price and they give you the bang for your buck, so to speak. And I think largely a lot of the labels do, like for what they're doing, they do give you a good amount of stuff for your money. They do make it feel worth your while for some of these releases, especially when we're at the point now with some of these studios, guys. They put out a steelbook and they're charging, $45 to $50 for a steelbook. And that stuff just doesn't make any sense to me at all. It's like, it's just a standard regular release and it's a steelbook, I know, but it's just a movie, maybe a couple special features, maybe a commentary on it. But that doesn't seem worth it when you compare it to what these boutique labels are doing. So I do think in some cases it is justified because sometimes with the pricing, it doesn't feel consistent. It feels like you'll get a 4K with 2 special features and it's going to cost you $33. And I'm kind of talking about Scream Factory here. And then you'll get a 4K with no special features at all, maybe some archival stuff, and it's $33. And then you'll get a 4K with all kinds of great past special features, all kinds of new special features. Like they really went all out for this 4K. 5 new features, just all kind of new audio commentaries, 4 audio commentaries, and it's $33. So it just feels like it's not priced accordingly to like what they're actually giving you in this package. And I wish some of these labels would kind of take that into account when they're pricing this stuff. Oh, well, this is a release that, it doesn't have a lot of good special features. We couldn't get anything for it. So let's bring the price down like $3 or something like that. Like, I think that would be appreciated by collectors if they can do that. I understand, okay, maybe you couldn't get the features for the faculty, but let's bring the price down a little bit, guys. Let's bring it down a little bit. If you couldn't get that done because that was going to cost you extra money, but you got it done for this other release, then let's bring the cost down a little bit. I think that would make people happy. But, I do think at the end of the day, when I'm trying to answer this question, again, I'm doing this all off the cuff, guys, I think that sometimes we are being just a little bit unfair when it comes to boutique labels because, like I said in the opening, guys, they really are like doing the Lord's work when it comes to this stuff. Like some of these movies we would never have on Blu-ray, on 4K with incredible special features, with great production value. We wouldn't have this stuff because the studios are too damn lazy or they just don't care. They're more focused on streaming and whatever the hell they're worried about right now, their next $300 million movie. We wouldn't have these releases if it wasn't for some of these boutique labels. So I do think at the end of the day, we are just in general, and I lump myself into this as well, we are in general a little bit too tough on these boutique labels. I think that we could lighten up a little bit, again, myself included. And I'm trying to do that, guys. And I'm also trying to realize that when you are looking at a slate of announcements, just because you're only interested in 1 or 2 titles doesn't mean it's a crap slate, because somebody else is interested in 1 or 2 titles in that slate and they're different titles than you're interested in. So I think that that's something we all need to remember is we all have different film tastes. We all have different movies that we love, and we need to just appreciate each other in our film tastes and our movie collecting habits. And we just need to all appreciate each other in general. This is a video about positivity, guys. It's about positivity in the physical media community. And I didn't even really aim to do that when I started. But anyway, Are we too hard on the boutique labels? They're really providing us great stuff, guys, on a monthly basis. Like, we get excited for these announcements. It's every month, guys. Like, every month. In an age where physical media is supposedly dying, we've got like 10 or 12 boutique labels announcing stuff monthly for us to get excited about. So we can't really hate on that. We just can't. Like, we just can't. And yes, their prices are going up. But I would say that they're not going up drastically, like when you compare it to everything else in the world right now. Like, it's still pretty manageable, unless you feel like you have to collect everything. Then it can get out of control, which is sometimes my problem. But it's still fairly manageable. And again, for what you get for some of these releases, and I think it's kind of incredible. And a lot of the labels give you several options for different price points and stuff. You don't have to get the most lavish release. You can tone it down a little bit and get the standard second sight for like $26 on 4K for the Hitcher. So I think that's really cool. I would like to see more labels do that kind of stuff, because I think there's a couple that are still kind of holding out and not doing that. But I think at the end of the day, like, I appreciate the hell out of the boutique labels. I think we all do, really, if we really just stop and think about it, because we love this stuff. And the big reason why we love collecting at this point in time in 2024 is because of the boutique labels and all the incredible releases that they do for us. So I'm thankful for the boutique labels. I think that sometimes, you know, it's good to have high expectations. It's good, but sometimes I think we need to manage those expectations, bring ourselves a little bit down to earth, and realize from and just kind of try to think of it from their perspective, because they got to put a lot of hard work into this stuff, guys. And it takes sometimes a year to do some of these releases. It's a lot. It's a lot of work that we don't know and we don't see. And I'm not going to claim that I know anything about what they do. So I'm going to try to be a little nicer. But again, I'm going to provide my commentary for this stuff as well. I'm going to be like, why did you do this for this release? Why did you not do that for that release? I'm still going to be honest. I'm still going to be truthful. But I'm trying to not get as upset about certain things or say that it's a crap slate when it's not a crap slate. It's just that some of these titles aren't for me. But anyway, that's the video, guys. 22 minutes of rambling. What do you want me to do? Are we too tough on boutique labels? Are our expectations too high? Let me know in the comment section below. Like, comment, subscribe, turn on the bell notifications for all future videos. Follow me on all my social media accounts. Those links are down below in the description, and we'll see you next time.